All right, so guess what, folks? You already know what this is. This is one of the many ingredients of the Holy Trinity. So this is celery that we're cutting up for the red beans and rice. And so in the Holy Trinity, we got celery, we got onions, we got bell pepper, red, of course, because we're making red beans. Come on, folks, you already know the deal. In some of your other ingredients, you can use some of the other colored bell peppers, green, orange, or yellow, but I like to use red and red beans because that's what we're making, red beans. We don't want the other bell peppers to feel like we're discriminating against them, so we like to use those too. So, cutting up the onion. Got the celery already cut up. And your various seasonings. Because we know we can't have no authentic red beans if we don't have that Holy Trinity. That's the number one, folks. So if you don't know anything else, you need to know bell pepper, onion, and celery. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Woo-wee. And see, these are inexpensive to make and definitely a crowd pleaser. Meaning if they're made correctly. Now, it would be a crowd disaster if they're not right. We wouldn't want to lose our Cajun card serving up some faulty red beans and rice. We want to make sure. And then once you get that Holy Trinity all cut up in there, then you're going to make sure we use all of our wonderful, fine Louisiana spices. Got a little bit of Tony's Cajun seasoning. Tony's catch a cherries, that is, but it depends on where you come from. Everybody can't say Tony catch a cherry. A little bit of garlic powder. I like to use garlic powder or granulated garlic. A little bit of ground bay leaf. Sometimes you can't get your hands on ground bay leaf, so you can use whole bay leaves if you need to. A little bit of red pepper in there just to give it a little bit of kick. A little bit of regular pepper. Get all those in there. A little bit of seasoned salt of choice, whatever you like. I like our friends at Lowry's. Then you get all that mixed up in there, and we're gonna let that simmer on low till those red beans get tender. Put a lid on it, let it go. For about 2 good hours or until the beans are tender. And then once already to completion, then we'll get ready. We'll put that smoked sausage in there. Andouille, beef smoked sausage, turkey, whatever you like. But I like to use just regular smoked sausage just for our Utah neighbors because, they don't like things real spicy here in Utah. So we want to make sure that we're keeping up with Business 101, which says know your audience, folks. And our audience here don't like it hot. It's seasoned well, full of flavor, but not hot flavor. Does that make sense? Stay tuned for the next ingredient. We're back at it, finishing up these baked cheese grits topped with bacon. And so, just like I said earlier, you got to be careful with those hot cereals. Now, you always want to give it a couple of stirs periodically during the cooking process, so that way the grits cook evenly, because you don't want to have some that are hard and some that are not. And so I always usually like to give it a couple of good stirs during that 5 to 10 minute cooking process. And then once they get to the consistency you want, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our cheese. Now, the cheese you can use, I like to use sharp cheddar, but you can use whatever you like. If you want to use medium cheddar, mild cheddar, or whatever your house favorite is, you can use that. Sharp just gives it a little kick. That's my favorite, but feel free to improvise and make it your own, folks. You get that cheese all through and through, get it nice and melted. And then once I get the cheese melted, then what we're going to do is we're going to add, I got my 2 eggs in here. separately that I've already whipped up in this little container. You can use a bigger container, of course, but for TV purposes, everything is smaller. So I took some of those grits out, and I'm folding it back into my 2 eggs. Then I will pour it back in. Ask me why I do that, folks. That's a very important detail. If you just add your eggs directly into your grits without doing what I just did, guess what you're gonna have? Scrambled eggs. So that's a very important detail, folks. So you wanna be sure and do it like that. Then, once you fold that back in there, we're gonna go ahead, put the lid back on it. I want you to let that cook for about a good 2-3 minutes, and then we'll be ready to put it in the oven for about 20 minutes. It'll be ready to go. Put that bacon on it, and you guys know everything tastes better with bacon, baby. Peace. Who dat? Back at you, folks. Getting ready. We got the finished product out of the oven, these baked cheese grits. So we're gonna go ahead and dish those up. Add our bacon on top of there. Look at there. Some people would like to believe that this is mashed cauliflower, but no. These are the baked cheese grits. Put the bacon on top. Enjoy. And get our crawfish etouffee, another crowd favorite. Put a little bit of rice in there. Over here, crawfish etouffee. Those that don't know what crawfish etouffee is, it's just a buttery, tomatoey sauce with mild spices in it. Real crawfish tail meat served over a little bit of rice. Did you hear? Buttery, tomatoey sauce. Didn't know if you caught that. Just wanted to make sure you got that very important detail. Crawfish etouffee, folks. We're gonna go ahead and finish up. Add these smoked sausage to these red beans. Go ahead and pour them on in there while it's still simmering. So that way the beans get their smoky taste in there while the beans are still cooking. Get the seasonings in there. And we're gonna go ahead and let that cook. Let that simmer for another hour or so. But guess what? You're gonna have to sign up for part 2 to be able to taste those red beans. Or come to a venue near you. Taste of Louisiana, Utah. Food like no other.